As I work as an A&E nurse, I'm no stranger to the horrific or unusual side of life, nor am I really bothered by it. I mean, I've probably experienced more than my fair share of freakish injuries and rare illnesses, and have never really been fazed by them, at least not to the point of losing sleep. Despite my career full of the weird and unfortunate, however, nothing could have ever really prepared me for what happened last month. I was working the night shift a few Sundays ago, which had by 3 a.m. proved extremely run of the mill. If anything, the only thing slightly peculiar about it was that it had been fairly quiet for a Sunday night. As the night was dragging, I'd found myself sat around the deserted reception area, drinking strong coffee to keep open my eyes, chatting away to a friend of mine, Charlie, one of the hospital's porters. Charlie had worked in the hospital forever, at least 30 years, and any facts he didn't know about the place, the characters who worked there previously and still did, or in its history, wasn't really worth knowing. It was quite often the routine that when we did hit a lull in our workload, that Charlie would sit and tell us funny, sad, or spooky stories that he'd heard of or experienced during his many years of service. On this particular occasion, he let rip with a highly comedic version of the tale about the junior microbiologist who had mistaken a boiling feces sample for a pot of coffee, immediately prompting us to put down our mugs, and was just about to launch into his favorite tale of the ghostly pediatric nurse when I stopped him. "Oh, come on, Charlie. We've heard that one like a million times," I said. "Have you?" he shrugged. "Yeah, it's about the one with the ghost nurse protecting the crying baby by creating an aura around his crib." "Yeah, that's the one," he shrugged. "Have you nothing new you can tell us?" I probed, shifting unexpectedly in my seat. "Well, there is the ultimate," Charlie whispered, his aged forehead creasing into a frown. "The ultimate?" I asked. "Aye, the ultimate shocking tale from this very hospital. A trip into the dark side of medicine," he sighed, eyebrows raised. "It's especially evil and totally true." "Now you have to tell us," I said, suddenly feeling a lot more awake and alert. "Are you sure? It'll change things for you forever." "Do it," I smiled, retrieving my cup and taking a huge swig of coffee before settling back into my seat. "Well, over in the old building there's a service lift," he began, almost in a whisper. "Right at the back of the hospital it is. Not many know about. Anyway, in that lift the control panel reads basement, ground, floor 1 and 2, unlike the option of only 3 floors everywhere else in the hospital." "And?" I shrugged. I knew there were only 3 floors in the old building and 2 in the new, where I usually worked, but they had always assumed that there must have been an attic space due to the design of the old building. "What's the significance of that?" "Well, rumor has it," Charlie continued, "that the floor is owned by the surgical division and they use it as a bit of a black museum, jamming it full of all the hospital's hideous growth deformities and graphic records of all the rare, horrible illnesses and injuries the hospital has experienced since it opened." "Well, I guess there does need to be a record of such things," I said as a shiver went down my spine. "And it's going to have to be stored somewhere." "It's not just that, though," said Charlie, leaning in towards me. "There are also 2 operating theaters, a large laboratory, and a surgical arena. Apparently, the surgeons carry out all sorts of weird and unethical experiments up there, and even run competitive surgical races on live victims. All those admission into A&E who don't quite make it, all those drunk vagrants of a weekend, and all those patients failing to live through the routine surgical procedures. That's where they all end up." I stared at him for a moment and experienced a chill throughout my entire body. Was this story really true? Was there something truly so hideous happening in my hospital? If so, Charlie was correct. It would change me forever. But somehow I doubted the tale's validity. I inspected his face for nonverbal cues, and convinced I saw the corner of his mouth curl a little, I made up my mind, ignored my fear, and grinned broadly. "Get lost," I laughed. "That's bullshit, that is. But you nearly had me there." "It's not. It's completely true," said Charlie, suddenly producing his mobile phone. "Put your number in here and I'll prove it. I know the access codes." "Ha ha, sure," I said, taking his phone and putting in my number, absolutely convinced I was simply playing along with this silly game. Charlie took back his phone, flashed me a wink, and left the department, and as we then had an influx of patients, I never thought about the matter again. or at least not until I finish work at 7:30, that is. Once I'd changed and headed from the department, I switched on my mobile phone and was surprised to have received 6 picture messages from a number I did not recognize. One by one, I opened the pictures awestruck. Firstly, a lift control panel with 4 buttons. Then, Siamese twins joined at the head, preserved in a glass case. Then a set of lungs which seemed to be infested with some type of fungus. Then the fourth showed a circular arena, much in the style of a Victorian operating theater, with a treatment couch at the center of its blood-stained wooden floor. Proceeded a fifth photo of a full ward arena where each of the patients were unconscious and receiving an IV infusion with a bright orange fluid. And then, ominously, the final picture showed nothing but the ceiling. I didn't actually get much sleep that day. I tried to reply to the picture messages, but to no avail. So I was actually glad to go back to work after my days off so that I could ask Charlie if he was winding me up or not. Strange thing is, I didn't see Charlie for days, and when I eventually asked one of the other porters where he was, they told me he'd been fired as he'd quite literally been caught with his pants down in the mortuary, apparently. This seemed strange to me and completely out of character. Things became even stranger once I received my payslip for that month and found I'd been paid a little more than I usually am, to the tune of £500,000, no less. After phoning payroll due to my honesty and being told my pay was correct, I'd been overtaxed a little, I became a little worried. Why had I been given this money that seemed impossible not to accept? Where was Charlie really? Had he been caught in a macabre act and worthy of his sudden employment? Were the morbid photos genuine? And what should I do about it all? It wasn't until I received an email from the head of general surgery last week that I had made my mind up. It read, "Dear Sir, we do hope that the little extra in your pay packet was not too much of a shock. We sincerely hope it will help to relax and silence your larynx, clear your mobile phone memory, and help improve your life. We even suspect that another $250K will be available to you should you ever consider very early retirement and or maybe even a relocation to a different hospital in a different city. Yours, Mr. Shelley B.S., CCST, FRCS." Hey guys, just wanted to come at the end of the video to let you guys know that this is my very first storytelling video and I hoped you all liked it. Actually what made me want to start doing these videos are the YouTubers Corpse Husband, B-Busta, and Lazy Masquerade. I really like all of them, and for you I will link their channels in the description box because you should check them out also if you haven't already. So yeah, if you like what you heard and you want me to keep making videos, please leave a comment or press the subscribe button. My videos will be gauged off of you guys, so please let me know. Alright, thanks for tuning in and see you next time.